This is American Press Productions, independent political analysis. Our featured story today is Representative Schiff, the Mueller Report, and a warning from America's founding fathers. But first, the daily headlines. Virginia Lieutenant Governor Fairfax compares the fallout from the sexual assault accusations against him to lynching during an impromptu speech on the Virginia Senate floor. He said, "If we go backwards and rush to judgment and we allow for political lynchings without any due process, without any evidence being heard, we do a disservice to this body in which we all serve." He also claimed it was testing the Constitution of America. I thought this was the party of Believe Women, though. I guess only when it's politically convenient. Former Senate Democratic leader Reid, in a recent interview, made a startling confession. He wishes for Bush as president again every day. This, a president he once called a loser, a liar, even the worst president this country ever had. So what changed? Trump, of course. Reid's reasoning, at least no one ever questioned Bush's patriotism, probably because no Democratic organization ever thought to. Common sense legislation is making its way through the South Dakota government that could prevent transgender students from playing on high school sports teams based on their gender identity. Of course, not all are happy with this. The ACLU of South Dakota had this to say about the bill. "No one is harmed by allowing transgender people to compete consistent with who they are. House Bill 1225 is clearly fueled by a fear and misunderstanding of transgender youth in our state. Transgender MMA fighter Fallon Fox beat her female opponent Tamika Brent so severely that she suffered a broken skull in 2014. In an interview following the fight, Brent said, "I fought a lot of women and have never felt the strength that I felt in a fight as I did that night." Transgender Australian rugby player Hannah Mounsey broke a female player's leg during a match. But sure, the broken bodies of women are a small price to pay for the mental well-being of a man who thinks he should cut his own genitals off. And now to our featured story today, Representative Schiff, the Mueller Report, and a warning from America's founding fathers. The special counsel's investigation, or Mueller Report, into possible collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia has been ongoing for nearly 2 years now. It is reportedly nearing its end. There was a report that hinted that Robert Mueller would submit his final report to Attorney General William Barr this week. That turned out to not be true. In the Senate hearing for newly confirmed Attorney General William Barr, he stated that he would release as much information to the public as he could from the Mueller report, but stopped short of saying that he would release the entire report. Now, Democrats are threatening to subpoena the Mueller report, as well as sue the Trump administration. Chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Representative Adam Schiff, said he will keep a close eye on AG Barr to see if he will bury any part of this report. Schiff will take it to court if necessary. But here's what the Code of Federal Regulations stipulates about the conclusion of a special counsel's investigation. 600.8c states, "At the conclusion of the special counsel's work, he or she shall provide the Attorney General with a confidential report explaining the prosecution or declination decisions reached by the special counsel." 600.9c states, "The Attorney General may determine that public release of these reports would be in the public interest to the extent that release would comply with applicable legal restrictions. All other releases of information by any Department of Justice employee, including the special counsel and staff concerning matters handled by special counsels, shall be governed by the generally applicable departmental guidelines concerning public comment with respects to any criminal investigation and relevant law." CFR 600.9 also states that AG will notify the chairman and ranking minority member of the judiciary committees of each House of Congress upon conclusion of the special counsel's investigation. Without reading Mueller's report, which Barr has not yet read, he is unable to determine what he can make public. Party first, America second. But here's the real issue. Barr is a Trump appointee. Many Democrats do not believe he will act impartially in his decision regarding Mueller's report. They don't trust the system, don't have faith in government process. They don't believe the Attorney General will choose impartiality over party loyalty. And another phrase for impartiality in this situation is loyalty to America. But this isn't just a problem with the Democrats. If you can, remove your biases regarding Republicans and Democrats, Trump and Hillary. Remove any ideas you may hold about the guilt or criminality of either. Because in the following events, concepts such as guilt or innocence hold little value. Republicans spent years investigating accusations levied against Hillary, and Democrats defended her throughout. Democrats have spent the last 2 years investigating Trump, and the Republicans have defended him throughout. Clearly, one side is in the wrong in each case, but party loyalty demands a unified stand on either attack or defense. And this party loyalty extends far beyond Capitol Hill. The populace, the voters, stand behind their chosen party's leaders too. Regardless of official findings from any House committee or government department, it is party affiliation which dictates belief in guilt or innocence of our elected party officials. But where does this loyalty come from, and what does it represent? Power for America's two political parties rests entirely in the vote. Rather than fight over the same voting demographic, the two parties have largely chosen to concentrate their efforts on voter appeal for separate, specific demographics. Of course, there are outliers. No party has complete control over any one particular demographic. As an example, the black vote is split 90-10 for the Democrats. They may overwhelmingly vote Democrat, but 1 in 10 still vote Republican. The two parties' demographic-based pandering and policymaking have become so entrenched in American society, has been operating for so long, one largely doesn't have to analyze policy platforms to decide who to vote for, at least past steps such as the presidential primary stage. When it comes to the presidential general or runoffs between a Democrat or Republican senator or congressman, voters largely stick with party loyalty. The swing vote or neutral vote is very small. We are experiencing a great schism in not just American politics or American society, but America as a whole. Trust in the system is breaking down. A member of one party does not trust a member of the other to put America first, because such a concept is becoming foreign to our thinking. Why? Because at this point, Republicans and Democrats believe in two different Americas, and that is a natural outcome of our two-party system pandering to certain demographics while excluding or ignoring others for decades, for entire generations of people. And both parties are guilty of this, but guilt here does not imply morality. It doesn't mean either side is right or wrong. We're past that now. America is a nation of over 320 million very diverse people. Many of us want wildly different things for the future of this country, and those wants have been tightly sewn up by either political party. America is heading to a critical turning point, but whether it's a long, slow turn or abrupt and jarring remains to be seen. We're not set in any one direction yet, but coming changes will force a choice. We should have listened to the Founding Fathers. Political parties, as recognized in a modern sense, did not exist prior to electoral democracy. What preceded them were elite factions of patrons and clients, the sort who ruled the British parliamentary system prior to the meritocratic overhaul that increased governmental efficiency and effectiveness many times over. These types of patronage systems, as well as paternalistic factions, have existed in all authoritarian systems from monarchical Europe to dynastic China. And they were well known by our founding fathers. These were the types of systems that tore apart empires and bogged down governments to an ineffectual mess. The American Constitution makes no provisions for political parties. The Founding Fathers were quite hostile to the idea. In Federalist Number 10, James Madison warned about the dangers to this country by what he simply termed as faction. By that, he meant the elite patronage networks and court politics in Europe, and a large reason for what he saw as the downfall of classical republics in Greece and Rome. James Madison argued, a division of the republic into two great parties is to be dreaded as the greatest political evil under our Constitution. In George Washington's farewell address, he warned against the baneful effects of the spirit of party, a conflict that would divide and potentially destroy the new nation. The Founding Fathers believed political parties would only partially represent the communities of America, and whose competition for the vote would lead to division and disunity, exactly what we are seeing today.